Guys, did you hear what just happened to the Brady Bunch House in Studio City? The city voted 13-0 to enshrine the home as a piece of LA history and to make it an official historical cultural monument. And wait till you hear what HGTV did with the house. You know, if you're curious about Studio City, Sherman Oaks, or Encino real estate, and you want to learn about how historical cultural monuments work and what the Mills Act is and the saga of this one-of-a-kind home, make sure you stay until the very end. You do not want to miss the shocking details. I'm Alan Taylor with Compass, and I've been helping homeowners in Studio City, Sherman Oaks, Encino, and around the San Fernando Valley for 20 years. And if you're looking for real estate tips, insider information on development near you or market updates, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, please give it a like. And most importantly, I'd love for you to drop a comment below as I want to hear your thoughts. And before we dive in, please grab our free buyer and seller guide, link below. It's packed with practical tips to help you buy or sell smarter in today's market. Today, I'm breaking down what this designation actually means for the home and our community. We'll talk about the Mills Act as well, and what the Brady Bunch House story teaches us about property values in the San Fernando Valley. All right, so first let's talk about how historical preservation actually works in the city of Los Angeles, because most people have no idea. And adopted in September of 2015, Angelenos voted for a process that would preserve historical property in the city of LA, and to qualify, a property has to be typically at least 50 years old, have significant architectural or historical integrity, and be associated with important events, figures, or construction styles. And if a property receives this designation, it protects the site from demolition or drastic alteration and forces there to be design reviews if you want to make exterior change. And just last week, the Brady Bunch House joined the likes of the famous Stall House, the Hollyhock House, Greystone Mansion, and numerous case study homes as a historical home. So what does this mean for homes designated with historical status exactly? This landmark status protects your home from demolition, but it doesn't exactly prohibit it. If the owner wants to destroy the home, the Cultural Heritage Commission can delay the process for up to a year to find preservation solutions, and the commission also gets more oversight on proposed alterations, which basically means it's almost impossible to be changed. So if you're looking for control over a property and to stop it from the wrecking ball, take a closer look at this process. Demolition is essentially off the table. And if you want to change the outside, like the windows, the doors, or even the roof material, you have to get a special permit called a certificate of appropriateness. And this isn't a normal permit. This is the City Office of Historic Resources that will review your plans to make sure you aren't changing the original character of the home. And this could delay your project for up to a year or more. You aren't just owning a house anymore, you're taking care of a piece of Studio City real estate for the city. And many Angelenos, and especially those who were fans of the Brady Bunch, this is a win, and the home will likely remain a piece of Studio City history forever. All right, so let's talk quickly about the Mills Act. A question I get asked a lot about, and that is the Mills Act the same thing as a landmark designation? How does it work? The answer is no, but they are directly connected, and you cannot have one without the other. Here's the simplest way to think about it. The historic cultural monument status is the restriction. It's the city putting legal guardrails on what you can do with your property, whereas the Mills Act is the financial reward that the city offers you in exchange for agreeing to live inside those guardrails. You cannot access the Mills Act unless your property has already been designated as a landmark. And that sequence matters, and most homeowners don't know it. So how does the actual contract work, right? The Mills Act is a voluntary agreement between you and the city of Los Angeles, right? Nobody forces you into it, but once you're in it, the city allows you to dramatically reduce your property tax assessment. We're talking a reduction of anywhere between 40 to 60% depending on the property. Now think about what that actually means in real dollars. On a home like the Brady Bunch House, which is valued at over $3 million, that tax reduction translates to tens of thousands of dollars in savings every single year. Not a one-time break, but every single year for as long as the contract is alive. Now here's where it gets interesting for buyers, because this is a detail that most people completely overlook. When a Mills Act properly sells, the tax benefit doesn't disappear, it transfers directly directly to the new owner. So if you're buying a designated landmark property today, you're not just buying a house, you're buying a significantly lower carrying cost than every other homeowner on that street. Your monthly payment on a $3 million to $5 million home could be thousands of dollars cheaper per month than the house right next door for the same exact price point. And in a market where high interest rates are squeezing buyers at every level, that kind of built-in advantage is genuinely rare. It makes the property more competitive, easier to hold long term, and more attractive when it comes time to resell. But here's what separates serious investors from casual ones, and understanding the catch, because there absolutely is one. The Mills Act contract comes with a legal obligation to reinvest those tax savings back into the maintenance and preservation of the home. This is not optional and it's not informal. The city of Los Angeles will send an inspector to the property every few years to physically verify that you're holding up your end of the deal. They want to see that you are maintaining the original architectural character, that you fixed the roof, that you're repairing the siding, that you're preserving the foundation, and maintaining the period details that earn the designation in the first place. If they show up and the property is deteriorating, the city has the authority to pull the contract entirely. And what this means in practice is that the Mills Act property is not a passive investment, it's an active one. You are essentially entering into a long-term stewardship agreement with the city, and in exchange, the city is giving you one of the most powerful property tax tools available to a private homeowner in California. And for the right buyer, someone who understands preservation, values the architectural character, and is committed to maintaining the home, this is an extraordinary deal. And it converts what would otherwise be a high tax liability on a multi-million-dollar historic property into a structured, long-term investment play with built-in financial advantages that your neighbors simply do not have access to. The bottom line is this: the Mills Act exists between the city of Los Angeles, and they want the properties preserved, and they are willing to pay for it in the form of your tax bill. And if your property qualifies, or if you're considering buying a property that already has this designation, understanding this contract is not optional. It's the difference between seeing a landmark designation as a burden and seeing it one of the smartest financial positions you can hold in the Los Angeles real estate market right now. All right, now for fun, let's talk about the $2 million haircut that HGTV took, right? We got to talk about it and what they did to this house, because it's one of the most, interesting cautionary tales in Valley real estate history, and it's directly relevant to every homeowner and investor watching right now. So in 2018, HGTV famously outbid celebrities including Lance Bass to purchase the Brady Bunch House for $3.5 million, nearly double the asking price. So they then poured an additional $1.9 million into a massive renovation, adding 2,000 square feet and a full second story, all to recreate interior frame-for-frame replica of the original 1970s soundstage. Now, before we go on, interestingly enough, this property was owned by the McAllister family, the same family that managed and ran Weddington Golf and Tennis for years. And in fact, I used to work for Kevin McAllister, who was the son of the deceased parents who owned the Brady Bunch House. Worked for him at Roger Dunn, which he owned. So anyways, just kind of interesting. So, what HGTV did is they kept the avocado green kitchen, the floating staircase, every single detail. And when the home finally hit the market again in 2023, the reality check was brutal, because it was listed at $5.5 million and it ultimately sold for only $3.2 million, meaning that HGTV walked away with a loss of over $2 million on the real estate investment. And this became an immediate headline in Studio City real estate, especially among those of us who track how hyper-specific niche renovations affect actual resale value. And the most painful part is that the 28 million people who watched that renovation on television, 28 million viewers, and not one of them was willing to pay the asking price to actually live inside the house. And while HGTV probably ultimately made money on the show, and the show was called A Very Brady Restoration, and the associated content it produced, I think this gives a lesson to homeowners in this market that they need to internalize, right? Media hype and market demand are two completely different things. The fact that millions of people watch the renovation on TV, it doesn't mean that millions of people want to buy the house, right? Viewership is not the same as buyer pool, and popularity is not the same as market value. And I think HGTV confused the two, and it cost them over $2 million. And that's the mistake that you cannot afford to make with your own property. And so here's what went wrong. HGTV didn't build a functional home for a modern family. They built a museum. museum. By recreating the interior so precisely, right down to the period accurate details, they essentially eliminated 99% of the buyer pool before the listing even went live. Think about who actually buys a home in the $5 million plus range in Studio City, right? That buyer wants a modern chef's kitchen. They want an open concept primary suite. They want smart home technology, clean lines, and a layout that works for how people actually live today and not how fictional families lived in the 1970s soundstage. So when your renovation serves a fantasy instead of a real buyer's needs, demand evaporates no matter how beautiful the execution is. As an aside, I went and looked at an incredible architectural home on Foreman in Toluca Lake. And this is a 1950s time capsule on a beautiful lot. And a lot of these homes would have been torn down. But ASOP Home, I think it was Fred Siegel's daughter, Annie, she kept that house. And then what she did is she kept like the original detail and the paneling, but she remodeled certain parts of the kitchen, certain parts of the home to give it that juxtaposition of the old and the new. Then she hired like Orca Living to do all the landscaping and just created a breathtaking feeling on the lot, and it just fit organically within its confines. The market's gonna react to that stuff. So when you go fully time capsule, it may not work quite as well. Here's another example, and I guess this is different. A Neutra, not a Schindler, but like a Richard Neutra, or maybe a Frank Lloyd Wright that is original. That you want to be original. That, is a true collector's item and probably retains its value more than if you take a Neutra and you fix it. So unfortunately for HGTV, the architectural pedigree of that home wasn't enough, even when restored, to attract the buyer. And so what HGTV should have done, in my opinion, and this is what I think the best value real estate investors do, is preserve the historical character on the exterior, but enhance, the landmark value by modernizing the interior to meet the expectations of the luxury buyer in today's market. And you can have it both ways, by honoring the history of the home without turning it into a time capsule. And the Mills Act actually incentivizes this exact approach, right? Maintain the original architectural character where the city requires it, and invest your tax savings into smart modern upgrades that expand your buyer pool rather than shrink it. And that's the strategy. That's how you turn a historic designation into a genuine competitive advantage instead of a liability. The bottom line is this: the Brady Bunch House story is not just about HGTV making a bad call, it's a warning about what happens when renovation decisions are driven by emotion, nostalgia, or a desire for press coverage instead of cold, hard market data. In the Los Angeles real estate market, and especially in the $3 to $5 million range in Studio City, Sherman Oaks, and Encino, your buyer pool is already narrow. Every renovation decision you make either expands that pool or it shrinks it. And HGTV shrunk theirs down to almost nothing, and the sale price reflected it exactly. So before you spend $1 on any significant renovation, you need to ask a question like, does this serve the buyer, or does it serve my personal vision? Because in this market, only one of those answers is gonna protect your equity. And if you're thinking about doing a significant remodel on your home, whether it's historically preserved or not, please do not hesitate to reach out. We've got 20 years of experience looking at all the finest homes and remodels in Los Angeles and seeing what works and seeing what fails. All right, so, and last, the Brady Bunch House designation isn't an isolated event, right? It's a direct signal of where the city of Los Angeles is headed, right? The LA City Council is getting aggressive and serious about neighborhood character, and that phrase is no longer just planning department language, right? It's now showing up in binding votes, zoning changes, and preservation decisions that are directly affecting property values across Studio City, Sherman Oaks, and Encino right now. And a 13-0 vote on a private residential property, it's not something that happens quietly, right? It's a statement, and every homeowner in the valley, needs to understand. So let's talk about what's actually driving the shift, right? The city is expanding preservation in zones and implementing R1V3 variation zones across the valley. As many of you know, mansionization ordinance have been updated every 5 or 6 years, reducing the size of the house that you can build on a lot. Hillside ordinances, where they use a slope band analysis to minimize the size of the homes that are being built in hillside communities. And in plain language, this designations limit lot coverage, building height, and the large-scale demolish and rebuild projects that have been reshaping neighborhoods for the past decade. The era of buying a 1950s ranch, tearing it down and replacing it with a 6,000 square foot modern box has come to an end to some degree. They're still able to do it, but they're not able to go all the way to the setbacks and all the way up and rob, you know, the neighbors of daylight, right? So if your exit strategy has been built around, you know, redevelopment potential, you need to revisit the calculation today because the city is actively narrowing that window. Now let's separate this clearly because the implications are very different depending on who you are. If you're a homeowner sitting on an original ranch, let's say in Studio City, Sherman Oaks, or Encino, this is actually good news for your long-term value, right? Because protected neighborhoods with a consistent architectural identity appreciate more steadily over time because they offer something a new build subdivision simply cannot, a genuine sense of space. And the argument here is that when larger homes are balanced within smaller ones, we create a little bit more continuity than everything being built as one large, you know, big box. And so the city is now legally protecting that, which makes your neighborhood more stable, more distinctive, and more desirable for motivated buyers. So if you're a developer or an investor, the calculation is more nuanced. A property flag for historical significance will not likely see its value decrease because you cannot bulldoze it and build, you know, the highest and best use. However, the structure value can actually increase for the right buyer who understands the Mills Act and wants the tax advantages that comes with it. And the key is knowing which type of buyer you are targeting before you acquire, because the wrong strategy on a historic flag property will cost you exactly the way it costs HGTV. The most important thing right now is being proactive and not reactive. Get informed about what the city council files are active in your neighborhood, you know, before a designation comes down. Understand whether your property could qualify for an HCM status and whether the Mills Act makes financial sense for your situation. And by the time a 13-0 vote happens, the window get ahead is already closed. All right, so I track these planning updates constantly for my clients across Studio City, Sherman Oaks, and Encino, and the homeowners winning right now are the ones who see the shift coming, not the ones scrambling after the vote. Guys, thanks for watching this video. I had a good time putting it together. The Brady Bunch House ruling is a clear signal that property rights in the Valley are changing. And if you own a home in Studio City, Sherman Oaks, and Encino, these policies are not coming, they're already here. And whether you want to know if your home qualifies for historic designation, by the way, few do, and whether the Mills Act makes financial sense for you as a buyer, or if you've come across this property, you know, this is the conversation that I want to have with you. All my contact information is in the description below, along with a free buyer and seller guide. And if you found this useful, please hit that subscribe button. I try to put out specific updates for homeowners across Studio City, Sherman Oaks, and Encino every single week. And I'd love for you to drop a comment below. If the city offered you a 50% tax break in exchange for controlling how you remodel, I'm curious, would you take it? I want to know. I'm Alan Taylor with Compass, and I'll see you on the next one.